Mrs. Gulick, another one of my favorites, curriculum and instruction.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about curriculum and instruction. This budget really reflects the continued commitment by the district to enhance the learning experiences for the students. So you'll hear everything that is included in this budget is really about expanding opportunities and enriching opportunities for our students. Together, the K-12 supervisors, there are 7 of us and 4 department chairs, 5 department chairs, and the principals and the teachers have really worked together to dig deep and see what's out there and what works and where should we set our priorities in order to make the experiences the best we can for the students. So you'll see throughout this, and I'm happy to go through page by page if that's what you want, but I will highlight for you what the theme is. And the theme is that we're looking for interdisciplinary experiences. I came to you last year expressing that as really a focus and a movement forward for curriculum so that students can make connections more readily between science and math and social studies and language arts and technology and engineering. And so most of the requests in here facilitate our move in that direction. You'll see that there's additional historical fiction texts requested for all of our social studies classes. That's going to be mandated in the curriculum for 17-18. We've added nonfiction to all the high school English classes. Again, that is an important addition to the curriculum. And we have nonfiction texts being added at the elementary school, as we always do. You'll see that we have requests for updated science kits that are aligned with the next generation science standards and integrate the science, technology, and one of the most important strategies, as you saw those students tonight, the engineering design loop is something that we talk about. And not only if you get to speak to the teachers, you heard it a little bit from the kids, but not only is it about the science and the technology and the engineering, but it's also about what do you do when something fails, and how do you handle your own frustration, and how do you try again. So we used to reserve engineering concepts for high school, but as you could see, that's not necessary. So we have some great requests in there for that. We've also expanded our opportunities at the secondary level for students based on their interests. So you'll see we've requested new texts for Intro to Marketing, Intro to Business, Math and Sports, AP Italian, and one that I think we're going to be really proud of and excited, and that's Mandarin, which also includes a staffing request for teachers that through our work over the last 12 months will result in no additional staff to the budget because we were very, very careful about staffing our classes for this year. So we were able to take teachers from Spanish and that had left the district and not fill those vacancies and use them for Mandarin. So we're excited about that. There's some big purchases in there that will allow students in hands-on classes like orchestra and band and engineering to have access to instruments and to equipment that they would never have access to without your support. And so I thank you and hope that you see that as a necessary.
Would that be the laser cutter?
That would be the laser cutter. That would also be the basses, and that would be the marimba.
And can you just maybe give maybe an example or two of what kids might do with a laser cutter?
So I will do my best. So a laser cutter is it's an installed piece of equipment in our engineering classroom at the high school. That's what it will be. And it combines mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. But the most important thing it does is the children design something on like a CAD program, and then it prints out, but it prints out as a 3D model or a laser generated item. So we've seen this before in action. They are very excited about it. They actually said, well, if the board doesn't want to buy it, like tell them it can be a fundraiser eventually once we learn how to use it. And I'm like, we don't have to do that. It's just really great curriculum. But it does those kinds of things. It will print on wood and on plastic, and
cool.
we'll learn more and more as we have it.
Mr. Giuliano is bringing a sample that we got from the Votech school last year. That's where the idea got generated.
And this is the beauty of the laser cutter is this can be done in a class period. So as opposed to the things that students have access to now, like a 3D printer or other kinds of vehicles that they may have to generate this kind of product, we have to send it out, or it takes overnight, or those kinds of things. They have to wait and see how it came out the next day. That's not true with a laser cutter. This is something that they'll be able to see their work during the same day. And then finally, continued support of the arts, including residency programs at all of our schools. That's the dance residency, that's the artist in residence, and new band uniforms, which I'm sure the band is really excited about. We didn't get in on the athletic uniform refresh program, so we're in here. It's my only co-curricular, and it's really important.
At how the uniforms were. Thank you. Shocked.
You were shocked, yes, you were, Mrs. Chu. Yes, they were pretty old, and the time has come. And it shows up in the curriculum budget and not the extracurricular budget, because our marching band is a performance group that comes from our band class, our band curriculum. You can't be in the marching band for fun, you have to be part of what we do here, and so that's why it ends up in the curriculum budget. So I'm happy to answer every question you have.
I have a, well, yes, okay.
Okay.
The AP, we're opening AP US history to sophomores.
That's right.
Is that a trend we're seeing in other schools?
We visited 2 schools that did this and did it successfully, and we are confident about this. We're changing the order of the social studies curriculum. We've planned for it for a year. So we went from U.S. History 1 to World Cultures to World History to U.S. History 2. And we saw a lot of reason and evidence, which Mr. Hussar explained, I think, beautifully at our curriculum committee, which really talks about accessibility for students. Our highest performing students will have the opportunity to take an AP class as a sophomore. And our most struggling students will now be able to continue their study of social studies with a background knowledge instead of coming into world history as a 10th grader. And so they'll have a lot more experience before they go to world history as 11th grade.
Are we concerned at all that our pass rate on AP tests will be hit because sophomores will be taking these tests now?
I have zero concern about that because for the sophomores, it will be their only AP class. And so I expect, we know how to teach that class, we know how to coach for the exam. It's one of our highest performing exams with juniors. I think with sophomores, there's no reason to not expect the
Are
same.
we bringing AP down in any other areas?
We have not found the opportunity,
So we're not doing it in math or English or science?
no.
So in the other areas, when can you enter AP in high school, math, English? So social studies now you can enter in 10th grade.
Right,
When can you enter AP for science, English, and math?
junior here.
Junior year only, so we're not bringing them down to any lower.
There's really no sequence for a cohort of students. We have some students that may be able to take a world language or may be able, through acceleration, to take a math course a little bit early, but not as a cohort.
Okay, okay. Well, that's interesting. I'm all for challenging. I just said my only concern would be the test, but I suppose you're not going to take that class unless it's for you.
Right, unless it's for you, and we think, we're watching that very closely, and we have some pretty strong criteria moving from 9th to 10th about taking the AP class.
Yeah.
So that we do set the students up for success.
Okay, so, well, let's re-highlight one of the cool new things, Mandarin.
Okay.
Mandarin, okay. That's, it's a huge new class we're going to have.
Yes.
How's that going to roll out? Where's it going to be? How's it going to work?
Okay, so our proposal includes 2 teachers, one at Churchill and one at the high school. We intend to offer Chinese 1 or Mandarin 1 and Mandarin 2, and we'll run whatever we need to do. We expect at the 8th grade level to be predominantly Mandarin 1s. We expect at the 10th grade level to have a combination of Mandarin 1 for students who just want to take it because it's going to be fun, and Mandarin 2 for our students who've already experienced the language outside of our district, and we have some processes set up for testing into that.
And I'm going to guess, like, it's an investment, that as it takes off, kids are going to start to want to see 3 and 4 and go up. So
Yes.
is there a plan for getting those other courses, getting in the higher levels, more specialized AP, that kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely. And we're watching very closely to make sure that we are prepared for that, both in curriculum and in staffing and in materials. And so, in fact, We've worked hard this last week. We have the opportunity to offer the AP Chinese exam. We can offer any AP exam we want because we're a College Board site. And we have a small group of parents that reached out to us and said, will you administer the AP Chinese? Because they were looking to other schools to take the test. And so we all sat together, we said, why wouldn't we? Like, we have an audience that can tell us how the test was, and these are our kids, they would be able to take it next year anyway. And so we have, as of today, 9 students sitting for that exam.
Okay, cool. Now, to clarify, this, Mr. Juliana, is probably more a question for you. The curriculum and instruction budget does not include general staffing.
No, it does not.
Okay, so where would that budget be?
With general staffing, you're talking about instructional staff?
Yes.
We were just having that conversation at the Finance Committee last night.
Which I couldn't make, unfortunately.
So that'll be, we'll be getting into some additional conversations at the next Finance meeting
Right.
regarding what those projections look like, but.
Where's it housed? Yeah, where's it housed?
Currently,
Where would you find that budget?
the general staffing for the elementary levels, for example,
Anyway, yeah,
teaching,
yeah.
that'll be something that we'll be bringing up
Okay,
at the next meeting.
but no, whereas I say that the curriculum instruction budget would include supplies and textbooks and
Right.
things like that.
Right.
But the general staffing is not going to be here, it's going to be elsewhere.
Correct, and we typically bring that forward when we come to the,
Okay.
tentative budget.
Okay,
But
more
what-
general.
But when we
Yeah.
discuss the variances that we're anticipating with staffing, that will be discussed as part of the staffing budget, which is outside of these specific
Gotcha, okay. That's where I
areas.
was going, wanted to clarify that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So we do have some staffing that we'll be discussing that are not being presented
All right,
here.
excellent. Mrs. Becker?
Debbie, we've talked in the past, I think we just had a presentation on our partnerships with various higher ed organizations. Middlesex County Community College, of course, comes to mind, and the wonderful collaboration we're doing with them. You told us in finance about a collaboration with Mason Gross.
Well, it's not Mason Gross, but
Oh.
it's Rutgers English department.
Right.
And so our English Comp 1 and 2 class, which is currently aligned with Middlesex County College, and our students do very well in that class. We have an opportunity, and Rutgers offers, it's like a writing experience class
Is
for
this
expats.
the senior college writing program?
So we've
Okay.
changed the name of English Comp 1 and 2 to college writing. And that's a senior course, and it is aligned with both Middlesex County College, English Comp 1 and 2, and Rutgers University. So the fact that 25% of our graduating class, approximately year to year, goes to Rutgers University, we think that this is a wonderful opportunity for our students. And the agreement with Rutgers, which I think is still tentative, but has all of the things in the right place, you of course will have to approve it, but has everything in the right place, offers professional development to our teachers as writing instructors, as college writing instructors, and then after we teach the course, we score the essays, because the XFAS course is basically a series of 5 essays in coaching. And so the Rutgers grade is based on your performance on those essays almost exclusively. And so once the students complete the course, they will be notified of what their Rutgers grade is, and if they like it and they're going to Rutgers, they can pay for the credits right then. So we think this is a win-win all the way around, even though it branches us out to another partnership, we just really couldn't say no. And again, we visited a couple sites that do this successfully. We're going to do it a little bit differently, but we're ready.
I think all these different partnerships are great, and you're absolutely right. Mason Gross partnership with them is actually a preview of something that's coming in our
Coming,
next
right,
budget
right.
That's community
presentation.
program.
It wasn't
Right.
you.
Not that we're not trying to partner
But
with
Right.
Mason
before you
Gross, but we have
finish-
so many students in the music program right now, we can't fit on a stage.
I'm still a little unsure about how this expository writing program works. When you say that we're talking about 100 students, I mean, we actually have more like 750 kids in a senior class, so they are not all able to take advantage of this. So only the students who are interested in going to Rutgers
No,
can
it's
benefit
100
here?
textbooks,
Yeah.
Mrs. Shaw. They're classroom sets. So we expect
Okay.
3 teachers to be teaching that, and we will offer as many sections as students are interested. I
Okay.
think almost half the senior class will take it.
Okay. So perhaps next time we could say these are classroom sets
Got it.
in there.
Okay?
That would
Yep,
be
that would make it easier to understand, yep.
That's an easy fix.
Yeah.
Great job.
Good. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks, Mrs. Gould.
Early learning and community enrichment.
Todd, before you move on to the last presentation,
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that on page 12 of the curriculum and instruction budget, there are document translation services to be provided for parents. And I just wanted to let those who may be tuned in that this was one of our strategic planning goals, was to try to make sure that families who might be struggling with understanding the information that was sent home would now be able to have translation services that hopefully will make it easier to understand.
Thank you for mentioning that. We have multiple requests in here to address that issue.
Yep.
Excellent.